you ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. You're listening to us on Broadway World over here on the Broadway Podcast Network, iHeart, and Spotify. You know I love the public. All the cool kids hang out off Broadway. And the really cool kids, the people that like plays Joe's Pub, which they're cooler than me, they won't return my phone call. But that's besides the point. The point is, our next guest is a Publix-made artist. That's what I read. It holds a special place in his heart. I have found the most fascinating press release to read about Ethan because Ethan does a little bit of everything. Like, he's out here playing music, he's writing shows, he's all around. And it's so good. Playwright and songwriter is coming to the public this fall with a new show called The Seat of Our Pants. And guess who's here to tell us all about it? Ethan Lipton, welcome to the Roundtable.
Thank you for having me, Robert. Happy to be here.
You're the cool kids that are hanging downtown.
I'm just one of the hustlers, just hustling, grinding.
I like that. Grind and hustle is for sure. You are an Obie Award winning playwright, and you have written a bunch of stuff. You do tour around the world. You play music. You have your own band that is incredibly successful and out here. Why do you come back to writing musicals and plays?
Well, this is a project that I've been working on for maybe 10 years. I'm first and foremost a playwright. That's sort of how I've always woken up in the morning. That's where I'm usually at. And I've been lucky enough to sort of branch off at other times in my life and do music, which is now also a central part. And, when I started doing the music, and I've been doing it for a while, I kept it separate from the playwriting, kind of to protect them both.
My goodness, how unprofessional. See?
Sorry, was that me? No.
No, this is why I don't get calls down at the public.
That was them. That was Joe's Pub.
I missed it. Now I missed my call, Ethan.
I'm sorry. So yeah, early on when I started doing the music, which I really started doing because I couldn't get anyone to read my plays. I kept them separate to kind of protect them from each other. So I would have a refuge from one and the other, and then over time I started to combine them, and now there's like this very kind of gooey space between the two of them, and I sometimes will have a few songs in a play, and I've written musicals for my band, and now this is really the largest show that I've ever made, and it's adapting one of the wildest and craziest plays ever written, The Skin of Our Teeth, into a full-scale musical.
It's incredible. The Skin of Our Teeth by Thornton Wilder into a musical October 24th to November 30th. So you are in the middle of it right now. I mean, the show is up and out, and people have been seeing it. After a decade plus of working on this and tinkering with this, what did it feel like to finally see it in front of an audience, a paying audience, and it's got its run?
It's amazing. It's the greatest feeling in the world. It's why we do make believe as grown-ups. It's like to be able to experience it with an audience. And we're still in previews, so I just came right from rehearsal. That's why I'm in this strange liminal space. I'm in one of the rehearsal studios across the street from the public. But just walking into that building and looking around the room, there's like, I don't know, 30 or 40 people in there, all talking and having sidebars, trying to tweak things and just make everything as good as it can be. And some of them are like really amazingly accomplished theater professionals. I mean, Lee Silverman, this is our 5th show together, but also Ruthie Ann Miles and Sugar Hensley and Michaela Diamond and Damon Dono, Amina Faye, and Andy Gordeluchin, Ali Bonino. I mean, really just amazing people, a 10-piece band. It's very moving to see that many grown-ups working and collaborating and trying to make a show as good as it can be.
You have like you said, you have an incredible cast of Broadway all-stars, theater superstars, television, film. People come and gather all around together. Is it hard for you to release your projects to the hands of the director and the cast? Does it feel like this 10-year-old baby is now growing off to college? That's it, Ethan. You're an empty nester.
I know it. It is. It's like that. We work until Friday, and then we freeze, and it's going to be intense for me to say, okay, everybody, it's yours now. But it's also so joyful, scary, all those things. But especially when you see people who are really good and who kind of come from different impulses. You know, there's like people who come from downtown. There's these great Broadway um, sort of superstars. And everybody trying to find the same language to make it happen, that makes it a little easier.
I love it. I want everyone, please make sure that you get your tickets while we're talking the seat of our pants. You can get your tickets right now. All you got to do is go to publictheater.org. Go see, support everything that they do. They really do the most incredible work. And what an incredible you is it true what I said before? You've worked with them, like you have been at the tutelage of the public for a moment.
So I was in the first emerging writers group, which was in 2008. And then simultaneously, my band, I have this quartet called Ethan Lipton and his orchestra. We would play Joe's Pub now and then, and um, it was actually Shanta Thake, a woman who ran Joe's Pub back then, who was the first person who asked me to combine the playwriting and the songwriting. And I wrote my first band musical called No Place to Go, and we did a theatrical run in the pub, and then I had one other show with my band that had a theatrical run there. So I've really have that theater and its programming and its staff, like those people are really responsible for a big part of my having a little place in the American theater.
Uh, well, spoiler alert, having a show you adapted and wrote music for at the public is quite a big accomplishment, Ethan. This is
Yeah.
it's a big deal, and I'm excited. People, no matter there's tickets and programming and things that they do at the public that make it affordable. So don't let the idea that you're not going to find a seat. There is a way to go see this show. They're very good about making sure that fellowships, students, people of certain ages and circumstances get a ticket, go see the show. How do you describe what this show is particularly about?
It's so bananas. I mean, it's about a family that's 5,000 years old, facing existential crises one after the next, and trying to deal with themselves and each other. So it's like epic and mundane. It's absurd. It was written 83 years ago and was on Broadway then. It's like really out there. Um, and there's a lot of joy in it, and there's also a lot of candor in it about the world and about humanity and how screwed up we are, and how we continue to face the same troubles over and over again. And for me, because the show deals with these sort of serious issues, it gives you a kind of hope because you're seeing something portrayed honestly and in a very kind of fun form, and you feel a little bit seen if you happen to feel like the world is a crazy place right now, which one can understand why one would feel that way.
I, Literally, if you're watching this, everyone, it's election day while we're and the world is
Yeah.
on fire every day for and has been. Um, I was sitting here thinking about spending 5,000 years with my family. I love my family very much so. That sounds like a really long time.
A super long time. You know what? I would like to think that this show makes people a little bit more forgiving of their family. When you see characters over that time, and you see how like really none of us has a chance to change. None of us is really going to become someone else. But like maybe we'll grow a little bit, maybe in consciousness or something, but like just maybe. And maybe these are going to be the same people. Um, and we have to find a way to love them no matter what, as hard as it can be.
I think that's a good lesson for all of us. So for you and your journey, you writing music and this show in particular, how does it work when you adapt something that's already been done? And then do you have to find like what is behind the scenes? Do you find places to put music? Does it come organically where you place the music? How does it drive the story to like what is it like to do something like this?
Well, I've only really done it on this scale with this. And to me, I keep trying to just listen to the show, to the piece. There's a question that I had to deal with early on, which was like, did I want to radically transform the play into something else? Did I want to like use it as a template to make some other thing, or did I want to play in the universe of the play? And I really wanted to play in that universe because it's so wild and fun. And so I was trying to listen to it, and there are songs in there that are really wilder text set to music, and then there are songs where there's just a word or an idea that I have turned into a song. And the estate, I had to have the permission of the estate, who've been nothing but wonderful to me, really, really supportive. Not always true of all estates, and they have really let me make it my own. So I have just tried to put the songs where I think they belong, and the kind of song, I'm someone who likes to, because I don't start in a music background, who likes to sort of interrogate a little bit what a song is supposed to be. So I have some songs that are like half songs, and songs that are like songs within songs, and songs with text under them, and like really short songs, and then songs that are standalone. But I'm sort of aware of those dynamics and trying to kind of create um, a trip. Like to me, the Wilder play, it is an awesome trip, and so it like tonally, and in terms of its story. And so making music for it, I wanted to make a fun trip where one song is doing something very different than the next, but they all feel connected and cohesive. And then I spent about the past year working with an arranger, Dan Kluger, uh, who did, Dan's a great composer and arranger and sound designer, and he did the arrangements for that production of Oklahoma a few years ago,
Oh, yeah.
which to me just moved the crap out of me because they were so really sounded like American music, and that it was just an honesty to that music and those arrangements, and I wanted to get that into this show. And sometimes when you're doing arrangements for a show, from what I understand, that doesn't happen until right before production. And for this project, I knew that we needed time to iterate those arrangements. So we have spent, off and on the last year, creating a real sound for the show so that it feels connected as you're going on that ride.
This is this just the timeline alone is incredible. You have till November 30th, everybody, to get your tickets. Publictheater.org. Also, we can follow Ethan on Instagram at emaxlipton on Instagram if you want to stay up to date. And you can go to ethanlipton.com to find out more about all the things that you do. I was listening to your music, and I was looking at some of the of your tracks and music that you have, like No Place to Go and Raw Milk and all these things that music that you've written. How do you balance, but how do you get to be a little bit of Ethan Lipton and his orchestra and a little bit of Ethan Lipton, the songwriting, plays, and theater, and live in those two worlds together?
Yeah, I don't know. I just, luckily, or not, there's never enough work in either.
Yes.
you know so there's always like a pause. I'm like, hello, anyone? Oh, maybe I'll well, it's time, let's book some shows again. But I've done each of them for a very long time now. I think I've been writing plays for 30 years, and I've had my band for about 20. um, and they really do kind of feed each other now, and I just love to work. I love to make stuff. I never really know what I'm doing next, and so I try to find great people, and see if I can trick them into doing something with me.
And I think that's exactly. I mean, it's not a trick. They're excited to work with you. It's exciting.
I hope
Did
so.
did you feel, or you? I know you're an educated guy and you've done a lot of work, but did you feel intimidated by doing doing the seat of our pants in particular, because the skin of our teeth is of a certain time, and when you go back in time, what about people who are afraid that it's not accessible to them because it's from something a long time ago? It intimidates some of us to be like 80 something year old play. I'm not going to relate to that.
Yeah, yeah. I did. I'm not that educated. I have an undergraduate degree, for the record. But I'm not. I have no more formal training in music or theater than that. But yes, I was intimidated at first. And when I began, I was like, I mean, I loved the play. Other people have done versions or attempted to do musical versions, people, all of whom are like legendary. Um, but I was like, it's actually a weird play, and a lot of my work is a little bit offbeat. And I felt like I might be the right person to at least try, my own version of it. And I started off pretty polite, and then over time I got a little bit more assertive. I was like, "Excuse me, Mr. Wilder, can I do this? Is this okay?" And then eventually I realized that actually I had a different obligation, which was to be authorial, which was to make big decisions and kind of push the text around and trust that that was the best way to serve Wilder's play, was to be who I am today as a writer, so that he could be him and what he made could be him. And my hope is that it really, like, if you know the play or if you know my work, that you would see it and feel like it was really both of us. And that if you don't, you're just going on a ride where you're like, this is a great ride and it's epic. I mean, I hope that's what people feel.
I know people are feeling that already. It's in previews. It's going to open, and you got to get your tickets now, everybody. So for you, how do you describe the music? What style of music is this? Is this musical?
I guess it's 20th century American music. It's folk and rock and jazz and uh, what else? There's a little country in there, and then there's some stuff that kind of pushes in a more modern direction. But it really is kind of American idioms that are not referencing like European classical music. That's not, there's little flourishes here and there, but that's not really where I come from. I grew up listening to singer-songwriters, really, and storytellers. And so I like something that has a kind of, what's the word? I don't know, kind of down to earth a vibe to it, and then can grow into something. That's the wonderful thing about a 10-piece band and the arrangements that Dan Kluger has done, is then you get to kind of give that kind of music scale, and it can really be exciting for the ear, I think.
That's exciting in general. I even think looking at the website and seeing the seating, it looks like a really interesting idea. It's almost like in a round kind of idea. Was that intentional? How do you describe the atmosphere of what we're going to see?
For sure. That's, I guess, the official name for that is an alley configuration. So
Okay.
there's audience on both sides. I didn't know that before. But it was an extension that the set designer Lee Jelinek and Lee Silverman um, came up with that idea for two reasons, really. One is that the Newman, where it is, which is like a theater that has presented some of our great musicals in the history of American theater. I'm so excited and honored to be in there. But that it's like a bowling alley a little bit, as the stage is at one end, the audience kind of goes up on the steep break, and sound can be kind of crazy in there. Um, and so that was one thing they were trying to deal with just technically. And then the other thing is with the music, the kind of music that we're playing, and what I was trying to do with the adaptation was to find the people within the archetypes. These characters are 5,000 years old, and they're often kind of portrayed at a big distance. And I wanted to get intimate, to get close to them, so that we didn't like say, oh, that's those people, so it felt a little bit more like us. And so this staging was really an opportunity to get audience on both sides and to create a kind of intimacy in the Newman that I personally haven't experienced before, and I find very exciting. There are some technical challenges of staging that way, but everyone has been great about finding, solutions to those riddles.
What an incredible cast you've assembled. What an incredible creative team in one of the most iconic places to see a show in the entire world. Ethan Lipton, congratulations. This is quite the big accomplishment and deal. After all of these years, your baby is ready to go on its own. It's
Thank
ready.
you, Robert. I really appreciate the curiosity and the enthusiasm for it. It's something I care a lot about, and I hope audiences have a big experience with.
They sure will. The seat of our pants. 5,000-year-old families gather. Come on down.
Check them
Everybody
out.
go to publictheater.org. Support theater in this country. Support new voices. Even when they're 80 plus years old, but with new voices and new music is a whole new take on a classic for sure. And we'll be following. Go to ethanlipton.com to stay up to date on this and everything else that you've got up your. Is there's more stuff coming, more music, more live shows with you, or are you going to take a big, nice hibernation nap after 10 years working on this?
I'll be doing some shows at the pub in the spring with my band. We'll do 4 shows there then. So, but I'm going to take a little minute off and just recover.
I think you deserve it. You sure do. Congratulations, break legs, happy opening, and have the most incredible run.
Thanks so much, Robert. I really appreciate it.